welcome to this week's edition of the Dakota Angler 2-Minute Fishing Report. Well, what can I say? What a wild, wacky weekend of weather, to say the least, down across the tri-state area. I honestly have close to 40 years of being a weather forecaster. I have not seen weather like this. A rainfall of 15 plus inches over an area is never been heard of around here. Hopefully we never hear of that anytime soon. But that obviously impacted a number of lakes around the area, northwest Iowa specifically. The Big Spirit and Okoboji area has been devastated, to say the least. And other lakes around here in southeast South Dakota has also been impacted by the high water levels. And Governor Noem has issued an executive order for keeping boats off those bodies of water. So we just ask you to exercise patience and understanding and head north. You get north of Highway 14, basically along Highway 14 is where the heaviest rain stopped. So if you're heading to the north or around that area, you're going to be fine. Just be aware of that. So that weather definitely impacted the number of people that were coming in and out of the store over the weekend. But people that went out and headed north had quite a bit of success. Up in the northeastern part of the state, the lakes that produce walleye included Bitter and Waubay. Those are the two main lakes that everyone seems to be going to, and you're going to catch better quality fish out of Waubay right now. And then north and south Rush, Opitz, Lynn, Indian Springs, Reed, Blue Dog, Dry Lake by Clark produced a few walleyes, as well as Big Stone, Goose, Drywood, and then also Casey Slough is producing a few as well. Down the southeastern part of the state, obviously the reports were more limited the further south that you go, but Ponset, Thompson, Dry Lake by Willow Lake all produced some really nice walleyes. Sinai, Whitewood, 81 ponds, a few being caught there. Henry as well, but that Henry has really gotten weedy. And then Twin, the trophy lake, has really produced some nice walleyes, but again, very weedy. And then otherwise, a few being caught at Madison, Island, and Diamond. On the Missouri River, the bite continues to do fairly well, especially to the north, and the bite is definitely picking up around the Platte and Pickstown area compared to what it was. I mean, it couldn't get much worse, but it definitely has picked up around the area. Now, what people are doing to catch the walleyes around the area, a lot of people now are covering a lot more water. Bottom bouncing, using slow death has been working really well. A crawler harness is also working. You can see the great selection of slow death and crawler harnesses behind me. Also single hook harnesses, for leeches and minnows. It seems more of a leech and crawler bite than what it does a minnow bite at this point in time. Other people are also trolling with crankbaits, flicker shads, the shad wraps from Rapala, the Salmo hornets, and then also the shaky shads from Walleye Nation Creation. All have been producing walleyes. And then a few other people are also using jigs and swim baits yet. And then as far as the crappie bite is concerned, with the warmer weather, that's starting to taper off a little bit more and a few more perch being caught, but that's very sporadic to say the least. The lakes that produced crappie this past week include Pickerel, Big Stone, Kempeska, Ponset, Thompson, Dry Lake by Willow Lake, and then also a few being caught at Madison and Whitewood. Now, what are people doing to catch the crappie? Nothing special. Jigs underneath a bobber or even a drop chain lure like a pilkey has worked quite well. In this week's edition of Todd's Tackle Tips, we're going to talk about forward-facing baits. And what do I mean by that? Well, anyone that has a Mega Live or a Live Scope or a Lowrance unit, live unit, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Those newer units, those flashers, that will actually give you a live picture where those fish are at and how far out they are from the boat. There are baits out on the market now that have that in mind, that's made specifically for that type of display. And the reason why is that by their profile or by their action, they will display a little bit longer than what you would typically see a jig and a swim bait, like a paddle tail, or even a jigging wrap. These will stay on your screen a little bit more longer and also easier seen. One of the first ones is a new one from Berkeley this year, the power bait that has gotten a lot of press, the Power Switch. They come in a number of different sizes and a number of different colors. This one here is the Fire Tiger one. And again, the shape is very unique here, and a very large profile head, and it will show up a lot better on your displays and your forward-facing sonars than what an otherwise typical swim bait would have. Now, I will tell you this much. From experience, when you're using a paddle tail, that presentation doesn't really lend itself to be seen easily on the live scope. Now, a split tail, just by the action that you can give a split tail, it's going to flutter a little bit more. It's going to show up a little bit better. And that's where you got the single tail right here on that Power Switch. It works out very well. Another new bait by Berkeley for forward-facing sonars is the Finisher. Comes in 2 different sizes, a number of different colors. Again, the profile and the action of this bait allows it to be easily seen on any forward-facing sonar. So again, if you're looking for baits that are made for forward-facing sonars, and I will also say, just because they have that in mind when they're being made, doesn't mean that it won't produce fish for you if you don't have a forward-facing sonar. You can use this bait along with your forward-facing sonar to be more proactive, a little bit more productive, to say the least. So again, if you haven't seen these baits, stop on by, and if you heard about them, you can also order them from us at dakotaangler.com. But again, the finisher has been one of the more popular baits, and the power switch is right behind it. So if you have a forward-facing sonar, Dakota Angler is the place that you want to shop. And now it's time to take a look at a few photos that you sent in to me this past week. And remember, folks, if you'd like your photo included in next week's version, all you have to do is send it to me. Send it to todd@dakotaangler.com. And folks, before we end this week's report, obviously we've had our first taste of summer with the warmer weather. I want to remind you that if you want to stay cool and protected from the sun, stop on by and take a look at these great sun shirts that we have here from Stryker and co-branded with Dakota Angler. People ask me, how can you wear long sleeves on a hot day like this week? Well, it keeps you cool. And when you are cool, you're protected from the sun. There's not a better piece of garment to wear when you're out there fishing or mowing the yard or anything like that. So stop on by. We have it from shirts like this from Stryker, Blackfish, also G. Loomis, you name it. But stop on by and take a look at which one works best and looks best on you at that time. And if you have any questions about these shirts or anything else that you've heard on the report, feel free to give us a call at 605-336-9132. Well, folks, that's this week's version of the 2-Minute Fishing Report for Dakota Angler. I'm the owner, Todd Heitkamp, and as we say around here, fish on! We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching, and always, I greatly appreciate your support. Stay healthy, and always stay safe.